Hi, I'm Pep Rosenfeld, and I welcome you to this Salesforce Leading Through Change episode. This one focuses on IT, because IT departments are struggling with these change and disruptions just as much as everyone else. You're asking yourself questions like, how can IT departments empower workforces to be productive from home? How can you leverage technology in new ways to help connect with customers and partners? And perhaps most importantly, how can all this be done by managing and securing data? Well, to help answer these questions, this episode will feature a conversation with Daniel Hederstad, who is the head of IT infrastructure for the Swedish Employment Agency. So now, there's nothing standing between you and enjoying this episode except the potential for an IT problem, which I have to admit would be quite ironic.
Welcome everyone to the first episode of the Leading Through Change in IT series. Today we're going to be discussing how to empower a remote workforce. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Salesforce webinars, you'll recognize this slide. Please note that you should continue to make any purchasing decisions based on what is currently available in the market today and not on any forward-looking statements included in today's presentation. So I wanted to start today off by saying thank you. Thank you for being a part of our community, and thank you for joining in this conversation with us today. Before we dive into the content today, I wanted to quickly go through the presenters and what we'll cover in today's session. So my name is Megan Bourne, and I'm a product marketing manager here at Salesforce. I'm joined today by my colleague and fellow presenter, Jeroen Rijsvoort. We're also extremely fortunate to have an extremely talented IT leader here with us today, Daniel Hederstad from Arbetsförmedlingen, the Swedish Public Employment Service. So today we're going to go over the impact of COVID-19 to IT leaders. We'll have a conversation with Daniel about the way he's leading through change, and we'll see Salesforce and MuleSoft in action in a demo. Now, this slide is not going to be surprising to anyone here today. We are all in the midst of an unprecedented crisis that's not only taking a toll on public health, but also is causing serious economic consequences across the globe. Businesses in every industry are facing massive transformation, faster than ever before. And every single company is concerned with things like crisis mitigation, financial instability, building digital relationships with its customers, and managing its remote workforce. Now, in this period of unprecedented change, the role of the IT leader is really more critical now than ever. And that's because IT leaders are the ones that are tasked with these massive transformations. They really are the human API that shuttles between their own organizations, other C-suite leaders, and external stakeholders. Now, they also have to demonstrate speed and agility with impact. So although there is a lot of pressure to show the impact behind IT projects, the need for digital technology is really more important now than ever before. Before COVID-19, digital transformation was imperative to remain competitive, but now it's really imperative for survival. So to manage in this digital imperative, IT leaders everywhere are facing three critical challenges. The first, how do I empower my remote workforce? The second, how can I take care of my customers and partners during times of crisis? And the third, how can I secure and manage my data in this new era of remote work? So today we're going to dive a bit deeper into this first challenge and discuss how IT leaders can empower a remote workforce. And to do so, I'd love to welcome one of our trailblazers in IT, Daniel Hederstad. Welcome, Daniel. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So can you start today off by just introducing yourself and letting us know a little bit more about what you do?
Oh, sure. I'm working in IT infrastructure. I'm the head of IT infrastructure in a Swedish Employment Agency. And we're a fluid organization, but that is my main responsibility for the time being and for the next perhaps 6 months. And I've been taking this job on just a few months back. So I've really come in exactly when things started to happen.
Wow. So, that's actually a great segue into my next question. Overnight, we've really had to adapt to the new ways of working with COVID-19. So what surprised you most in this new normal?
Oh, wow. That's a lot of stuff. But let's say that the biggest change for me and for a lot of the employees is actually having to work with people that are not next to you. Working with people who are somewhere else and trying to build a relationship with them or maintaining one, depending on how long you've been working with them, and getting results done while not having any eye contact whatsoever. That's very new for everyone, I think.
Absolutely. And none of us could have ever predicted something like this to happen. Have you had to reinvent processes now that we're all working from home?
Well, yes and no, but mostly the changes that we have been done, because we are on this journey of renewal where everything is being digitized, we've rather had to accelerate everything. And the things that we were trying to do, perhaps, okay, in the 6 months, we're going to look at this, we're going to need to work on that today. And actually, during this crisis, some of the biggest deliverances that we had to do, the biggest deliveries, were right on the major key time when everyone was going home and the biggest changes were made. And still, we were able to do it. And that was something that a testament to where we have become, who we have become in our organization, where we have come, because that is not something that we could have done perhaps 2 years ago, maybe not even 1 year ago, but we could do it today.
So Daniel, you just referenced a project that you've been working on, which is kind of one of the largest projects in your company's history that you launched from home during this global pandemic. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
The project is called Chrome, or Chrome in English. And the center of it is self-service flow for our customers. And that is very important today because we don't want them to go into our offices. We have a lot of offices, over 100 in the country. And we want them to be able to work from home, and we want our customers to be able to use all of our services from home. So we built several self-service flows which help the potential employees come closer to the job market. And the functionality of this is very important, but it also says something about where we have come as an organization. Because this delivery done on very short time with high pressure, with a lot of information from different places, different systems that are within the organization, we couldn't have done that 2 years ago. I don't think we could have done that 1 year ago. So we did this today. We did it through these times with all of the COVID problems that we have. Actually, when it was crunch time, that is where we were moving everyone from the main office and home to their own computers. And that says something about where we have come. And instead of just being a hard delivery, it says something about ourselves. It's a beacon of hope for us because it tells us that even through these times, we can deliver. And that shows us also that there is some utility in pressure. You can't do anything, you can't build diamonds without pressure. And this is really one part where we've shown that we can stand up to this pressure and actually deliver through it.
So most of us are really struggling both personally and professionally right now. What are some of the valuable lessons that you've learned in the last kind of 6 to 8 weeks?
I've found that being a manager, being a leader is different in these times. And I'm not exactly sure what kind of skills are going to be needed. If this is the new normal for some time forward, who are the leaders who are going to be successful? Maybe it's not the same leaders that we used to have. The leaders that were successful 6 months ago are perhaps not the leaders that are going to be successful this time around. So I've been trying to develop new skills on how to build relationships from afar. Because how can you make personal connections? How can you onboard new people? And how can you make sure that everyone is inspired when you're not actually able to meet them? This is especially challenging since we had to shut off the video function within the organization, the video meeting function, because all of the bandwidth problems. Because we have a stable IT environment, but it's aging. And we are moving into our new premises, but we haven't made that transition yet. So we're trying to make things work as we go along before we're all into the new shiny data center. So, yeah. So that means that for a short time onwards, we're going to have to work without actually seeing each other, even on a PC screen. So how do you build on that? Well, clear messages, I think, and that is something we all need to train. That's something we all need to work on. And I know I'm doing that myself, because what works in a meeting room where you can see each other doesn't always work when you're having the same discussion and session remotely. And we're finding that out as we go, that online, if you're not being clear, it shows off in a bigger way than it would in a normal meeting room.
Most companies were not set up to be managed by an entirely remote or even a predominantly remote workforce. And most organizations have manual processes that really require physical presence in the office. So, Daniel, how have you guided your organization to deal with similar challenges?
Well, we're actually kind of grateful that a lot of the work that needed to be done for that has been done in the last few years. In the past few years, we made a total change of our IT architecture. And the first platform that we put in place was, I'm sure you would like to know, the integration platform with MuleSoft. But it's not only making the data available, it's knowing how to work with it. So what we're working on very much right now is leveling our maturity in information management, how to take responsibility of the data, how to work with the quality, knowing what the quality is, building feedback back to the sources so we can actually improve the data and making it available as much as we can so we can use it in different ways with great reusability. So we're well set up for that when it comes technically, but that's not the hard part. It's easy with technology, working with people and information. That is the hard part.
Absolutely. Thanks for that answer, Daniel. You really hit on one key pain point that we've heard from many customers. So let's take a quick moment to see how MuleSoft and Salesforce can help automate business processes and access data entirely in the cloud from anywhere. Over to you, Jeroen.
Thanks, Megan. Jeroen Reizen for joining in from the Netherlands. In this time where most of us have to work remotely, it is essential to be able to access the systems you need to do your job. Even systems you would normally only be able to access through an office terminal. In this demo, I will showcase how MuleSoft and Salesforce help you to create a Customer 360 view, allow you to automate business processes, and access and process data from anywhere in the cloud. Let's get started with the demo. So we're logged into our Sales Cloud instance. We just won an opportunity at Ohana Inc. Let's have a look at that account. Now what you see here on the Integrations tab are integrations to various other backend systems. So invoices from QuickBooks and orders from SAP, all integrated into Sales Cloud. These integrations are powered by MuleSoft to create a 360 view of this account. On the Opportunities tab, we see the current Ohana opportunities. Let's open the product upgrade opportunity that we've just won. Because I just won this opportunity, I need to close it and generate an order in SAP. Before I close the opportunity, notice that the SAP order ID is blank. When I close the opportunity and put it in as closed won and save it, you will notice that we now have an SAP order ID. This means the order was placed. Behind the scenes, a MuleSoft-powered integration created the order in SAP. MuleSoft enables citizen integrators to use Anypoint Flow Designer to build integrations to and from Salesforce with any other system using a low-code, easy-to-use interface. Let's walk through this Flow Designer integration to see how easy it is to build an opportunity to order process automation between Salesforce and SAP using MuleSoft. MuleSoft's product is called Anypoint Platform. It is the leading solution to help organizations innovate faster and build connected experiences. Flow Designer is a simple web-based interface for building integrations. Flow Designer helps anyone to get started in building integrations to or from Salesforce with any other system using a low-code, easy-to-use interface. Out-of-the-box connectors and APIs will simplify connectivity and improve speed of delivery. You can also automatically map data using machine learning-based recommendations. What you're currently looking at is the web-based IDE, Flow Designer, where you can design, test and debug your integrations. In the center, the integration flow, which is composed of cards. Each card represents a specific task in the process. For example, invoking SAP or mapping messages from one format to the other. On the left side are your files and dependencies. You can reuse existing assets like business APIs and libraries. At the top right, there's test and debug. You can test and debug your app in a sandbox. Now let's look at how simple this is. Out-of-the-box connectors make it simpler to connect to systems. In this case, we need to subscribe to a Salesforce topic to get notifications about closed opportunities and start the flow. This is the Salesforce connector. It supports the full Salesforce API, including streaming topics. And this is how you configure the topic that the app will be subscribed to. Connectors support multiple operations. Here we are executing a Salesforce query to read the opportunity line items and to build the SAP order. There's a vast catalog of connectors that will help you interact with the most popular systems. SAP R3 and S/4HANA are two of them. Here we are calling SAP native operations with this connector. In this step, we are preparing the order message to call SAP. We will map Salesforce fields into the fields required by SAP. DataWeave is a powerful data mapping and transformation tool. A feature called automapping uses connectors metadata and AI to suggest the best mapping. The preview will help you see how the mapping will work. By clicking the preview button, DataWeave will recommend a mapping based on the input and output. Automapping uses connectors metadata and artificial intelligence to suggest the best mapping. When you click Apply, you can see how the mapping was implemented. The third panel shows a preview on how the data is going to be mapped. Connectors metadata allow to visually operate with the payload. What you see here are the fields of the SAP response. In this final step, we are mapping the SAP order ID output into the Salesforce opportunity object. So let's summarize what we saw. In this demo, I showed how MuleSoft and Salesforce can be used to automate the opportunity to order process and make it possible to access and process data entirely in the cloud from anywhere. The process starts in Sales Cloud and continues in SAP. Behind the scenes, actions executed in one system can trigger integrations, resulting in a seamless business process flow, saving time for the sales rep and processing orders faster as they are received. I used Flow Designer, MuleSoft's low-code web-based development tool. With MuleSoft and Salesforce, you can access your systems remotely. This is essential in this time where most of us need to work from home. That's it for the demo. Thank you. Back to you, Megan.
Thanks, Jeroen. So, Daniel, just a couple more questions to close out our conversation.
Sure.
You mentioned earlier about a business continuity plan. And are you putting that together right now? Is that something that's top of mind for you? And what role does the IT team have in your kind of get back to work or business continuity plan in terms of the entire organization?
Well, IT, of course, plays an important role since it's involved in almost everything we do. But it is hard to trying to find the continuity. I mean, what is the new normal? How long is this going to be? And the way it looks, no one can tell us that as it is. So we need to work with several perspectives at once. So we're trying to solve the problems that are immediate and in front of us, but we do try to keep our head up and move forward. And it can sometimes be hard to see, okay, what is actually the forward? What is the direction in which we want to go? And something that I learned in the military was, if you're not sure what to do something, because just getting the sense of movement forward will help you in finding your way.
That's wonderful. I think this is a great segue into my next question, which is, what is one top tip that you'd like to leave the audience with today?
Oh, yeah. I would say that if you can give them a sense of agency, that they're actually able to do something themselves, that they are powers that can make this situation better, that is something that will help them get out of the victim state that is so easy to get into when you see the way the world looks around us today, and get into actually building the future. Because there is a future coming, but it's not coming unless we build it. So we need to be able to see that we play a part in this. And that is very important for us as a government agency. But I think it's important for everyone to see that this is going to change. It's not going to be like this always. And the way that we get there is if we all contribute into making it the new future and the new normal.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for the really meaningful conversation. I think it was a great balance of both kind of helpful, tactical advice, as well as your leadership perspective and your perspective on kind of keeping our head up and keep going. So thank you so much.
Thank you.